Let's talk about Tengen, Riko Amanai, all the star plasma vessels, and basically the entire subplot of the hidden inventory arc of Jujutsu Kaisen. This question comes to us from Labamba, but I got a lot of questions about all this, so we'll break it all down. So to begin, we need to start with Tengen. And Tengen's a name I'm sure you've heard more than a few times. They are a very important figure within Jujutsu society, but thus far in the anime, not much has been revealed about them. And this answer is going to be all anime friendly, so no worries for spoilers. But because of that, we're going to use this Digimon to represent Tengen, because that's the same analogy Gojo used in the show. And if you don't know anything about Digimon, don't worry, I don't really know anything about Digimon. All you need to know is that this represents Tengen, and I'll explain more as we go on. So like I said, Tengen is a very important and influential person in the world of JJK, but that's like a whole nother video that I don't want to get lost in right now. What you need to know is they're crucial to society, and they're also ancient. So how are they so old? How have they lived this long? Well, that's because their curse technique is immortality. However, Tengen's immortality doesn't function in, say, the way a vampire's would, where you are just frozen at one place in time, never aging past that. No, Tengen's immortality functions as an evolution. So they are constantly evolving, although at a very slow rate, beyond that of a human. And therein lies the problem. Alright, so bear with me as I break all of this down. And this is where the Digimon analogy comes into play, but again, you don't need to know anything about Digimon. So over here is where we're starting. This is Tengen in their base form, pre-evolution, let's call it. So then, the natural evolution process takes place via their curse technique, which enables them to be immortal, to live far longer than a normal human can. So that brings us to this guy, and I don't know this Digimon's name, but think of this as like adult, matured Tengen. So everything's fine and dandy up to this point, but here's where we can run into a problem. Because if Tengen continues to evolve unchecked, then Tengen will evolve into something that is beyond human. And that's represented by this psycho-looking guy up here. And essentially, that's just the fear. If Tengen evolves beyond being a human, they may lose their humanity, and then no one knows what Tengen will do at that point. They could just go completely rogue or buck wild, as I have written here. This image I made for a breakdown of Season 2, Episode 1 a long time ago. So what can be done about this? Well, that's where these star plasma vessels come in. And star plasma vessel is simply a title given to individuals that are uniquely capable of resetting Tengen. So that's what they do. They reset Tengen from this adult, matured evolution form back to the base form, back to the start, so we can essentially start the entire process over again. And this has to happen about every 500 years. So Tengen is chill for about 500 years, and then things start to get dicey. So at that point, the star plasma comes in, Tengen and the star plasma merge, and Tengen resets to the calm boy. This exact scenario is what the hidden inventory arc in Season 2 revolves around. Tengen is due for a reset, and Riko is the star plasma vessel. It is Gojo and Geto's job to protect Riko until she can merge with Tengen and reset them, basically protecting Jujutsu society as we know it. However, some people don't want this to happen, so why is that? Well, there are two groups that we are strictly aware of that are wanting to prevent this to happen. First, we have a group known as Q, and they simply want Tengen to evolve and to go buck wild to essentially reset the Jujutsu world as we know it. The other group, the one that's depicted in this photo, is the Star Religious group, and they basically view Tengen as a god, a deity. They worship Tengen, and they think Tengen merging with a mere human makes Tengen impure. They want Tengen to remain as pure as possible, so they don't want this to happen. And I do briefly need to mention Toji's role in all of this. He doesn't really have a dog in this fight. He doesn't care about Tengen. He doesn't care about the star plasma vessels. He was simply in it for the paycheck, but even more so just to test his grit against the strongest sorcerer of the time. All in all, when the dust settles, we're going to find ourselves somewhere in this spectrum here, because Riko never got to merge with Tengen and reset them.